I'm Tiffany Harnsongkram, otherwise known as From Divorce to Destiny, and I just got off the phone with Gabrielle Hartley, who is the author of the book Better Apart and who is also a divorce mediator and coach. And we were just having a conversation about the narcissist adjacent. So she asked me to record a video blog for you all about my story and my take on the situation. So we're seeing a lot of these support groups, books, people talking about narcissistic trauma, abuse, and especially in the context of marriage or divorce, people are very quick to talk about their narcissistic ex, their narcissistic spouse. And in my situation, I could have named a whole slew of behaviors that were happening on the part of my ex-husband in the course of our divorce and even beforehand. However, I'm very reticent to label him a narcissist or put that diagnosis on him. And it's possible that he could be, but I don't think that he is. He doesn't fit all the characteristics. He only fits perhaps 80% of the characteristics. And this is what I believe happened. So I am not a trained psychologist. I will say that, even though I work with a lot of psychologists. However, what I did notice in his family was that his father was a narcissist, full-blown narcissist, undeniable, and I don't have any qualms about saying that. And I think he wouldn't have any qualms about saying it either. But when you grow up with a parent who's a narcissist or someone in your life influencing you in that way, there's a lot of learned behavior and a lot of trauma that's carried on from that. I can say that in my ex-husband's life, his father is most likely the person that has traumatized him the most. And his father's mother also exhibiting very much the same behaviors. We see this as the family cycle. Now, I don't believe my ex-husband is a narcissist. I believe that he is copying many of the same behaviors that he saw his father exhibiting, and in turn, his mother was also having kind of adverse reactional trauma behaviors as well, because as we know, trauma attracts trauma. So because of his growing up in that environment with a 15-year highly conflictual divorce between his parents, involving multiple custody battles, absolute financial ruin, it was on World War level. He grew up that way, and he picked me. He chose me because he believed that I would be able to provide him that stable family life that he never had growing up. And I believe that I did that for him for a very long time. I was willing to do that for him, unfortunately sacrificing a lot of my own well-being, as many of you can identify with. And I was no longer willing to do that. But he was seeking that stable family unit. And we had a lot of peace in the household. We had a lot of love in the household. And our children grew up with a lot of love in the household. However, when I wanted to leave, and when I said that I had had enough, he very quickly reverted to repeating the very same cycle, the very same behaviors that his parents had. I mean, literally, you could have taken it out of a book, the script that he followed, and probably following a lot of his parents' advice in that on how to go about divorcing. And so I see my role in this when I take the macro view, when I look at things from a spiritual perspective and give them the meaning that I would ascribe to them, is that I was breaking this generational cycle for his family. And I was probably breaking quite a few generational cycles for my family as well, cycles of codependency. So as you know, narcissists and codependents are usually magnets that just fly at one another and bind very quickly. And I felt that as I was heading into the relationship, it was a moth to the flame. And so I was breaking those cycles from my parents, from their parents, and from his parents. And I can tell you that my children are not going to grow up with that environment. And so even though I would say my ex-husband is still continuing this narcissistic behavior in being highly conflictual, using the children often as pawns in this kind of an ego warfare or reputation warfare. However, because I have been stable, I've been peaceful, I've been unwilling to react in any way and not give fuel to that fire. My children are not growing up with the level of conflict that he grew up with. And my children aren't growing up with parents who are willing to give themselves up. I haven't surrendered myself. I haven't made myself smaller. I've been actually rising to the challenge through the divorce and after the divorce to continually make myself bigger and better than I was the previous year. Trying to be the best role model that I can be for two young girls, 9 and 12, as they grow up and as they're going to become very soon young women. I want them to see someone who is self-resourced and self-fulfilled, and not in a codependent position seeking the validation of someone else or looking to react to the way that the other person is treating or valuing you. So 2 points to take away here is just because they're exhibiting narcissistic behavior doesn't make them a narcissist. However, there are all kinds of narcissistic behaviors we can pick up from our own parents, family, and even society. Many societies are highly narcissistic, especially in the younger generations. We've seen that. So we need to be aware of those within ourselves and within our communities, as well as within our exes. And also, you can be proud of the work that you're doing on yourself, because the work that you've done is going to break those cycles of trauma. It's going to break those cycles of abuse. And it's something that's going to carry on and be your legacy for generations to come as we teach our children to be healthier people.